Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Warframe. It is I, your host with the most, as always, Francois878, and today I am bringing you the video for Update 13.7, which is called, well, what Digital Extremes has called the Depths of the Void update, which is accurate, I would say. It is the introduction of a new boss, old boss, new fight, I guess, and as well as T4 keys and T4 missions, as well as interception missions, which is what you're seeing here, being introduced into that mission type, into the key missions. Basically, for those of you who, are still new to Warframe and are watching this, the game starts in Mercury. The main game is actually played throughout the solar system. So you start in Mercury, and you work your way through Venus and Earth, all the way up through Pluto. And once you're done with Pluto, and of course the difficulty scales. Once you're done with Pluto and you want harder gameplay, you then go to the tower keys, which these tower keys basically take you to the dead space, or dark, I think it's called dark space, and which is where you fight the corrupted versions of basically all the main enemy types in the game. You have the corrupted Corpus, Grineer, and the ancient, as you can see right there, the ancient infested enemies. Not the normal infested enemies, just the big ancient guys. And basically, there are different levels of keys. There are the T1 keys, Tier 2 keys, and T3 keys. And, they scale by difficulty. Basically, with how big the enemies are to begin with. So the higher the key, the higher the enemies are to start with. And basically, the T4 keys keep up with that pretty diligently. The keys are harder, but there's nothing new or interesting about the T4 keys except for the interception missions and the corrupted Vor fight. Now, Captain Vor is a boss fight that he's the boss actually on Mercury. He's the first boss you'll face. And if you pay attention, he actually has a void key strapped in his chest when he does that fight. So basically, the lore here is that once you kill him on Mercury, the key on his chest brings him back to life, and he then fights you again in the T4 fight. So you can see him right here. And it's not a bad fight. It's not a hard fight, but it's interesting. It's something a little bit different to kind of, add something different to the monotony of just doing wave after wave after wave. Granted, you only face him once, but he's not bad. He's interesting. Basically, he has this, he was cut in half, and what the Void Key did is basically just made cosmic energy fill in the bits that were missing. So you have to hit that cosmic energy in order to do damage to him, or you won't do any damage. And they've called him, Corrupted Vor for this. And it's not bad. He usually shows up not in the first round of survival or defense or whatever, but he will usually appear in the second round. And he's not bad. It throws a little bit of something different into the game, and I like the lore aspect of it. So I thought it was pretty cool. I liked him. He's not a hard fight by any means. It's not a challenge. It's a challenge if you have a bow equipped and you're not very good with it. I happen to have logged more hours with the Paris Prime than I care to remember. So it wasn't too bad for me, but weapons that are single shots have a little bit less of an advantage and are a little bit harder. But yeah, I mean the T4 keys are, they're just a little bit harder. And here you see me. It's the very first tier 4 survival I did. I just got lucky, and we happen to have a good take on it with Rhino Prime and the Soma here. And I mean, there's nothing really different about it except for the Vor fight. But they're not bad. I mean, they're a little bit like, I don't know, I kind of wanted to see something a little bit different added in to the keys. I don't know what, but just adding another tier on top of the T3s, I don't know. It's probably not what I would have done, but I'm not a game developer. So, I mean, there's pros and cons. And the added challenge to the T4s is nice. You get to a point where, the T3 missions are kind of, they're not boring, but the first, 20 minutes is. But, yeah, I think that's just about it. Oh, the interception missions. I wanted to talk about the interception missions for just a moment. That's the mission you just saw. This is just basic survival. Basically, the point of an interception mission is you're trying to decode a message. So you have to capture points on the map, well, 4, it's always 4. 4 points on the map, and you hold them, and the percent you slowly tick up. You have to hold it for so long, and then, once you're done, you finish the round, and you can choose to either take the reward or go. It's very similar to defense in that your rewards don't stack. In survival, you get all the rewards as you go. Every 5 minutes you get a new reward, and you get them all. In defense, you go 5 waves, and then you decide if you want to take that reward. You don't get that reward if you choose to continue on. So it's iffy, I guess. And the interception is the same. And I'm not a big fan of the non-stacking rewards. I understand why they do it, but just as purely from a player perspective, I don't like it. But it really is. A lot of people seem to think that it is. It's a PvP game type. It's domination or King of the Hill if you play, Call of Duty or Halo. And it really is. But I like to think of it more of a more active, defense. Defense missions, you have the pod and you have to defend it. You have to, most of the time, especially at high-end defense levels, you have to stay next to the pod. Or if you go, away from the pod, you don't go very far. It's a lot of, sitting there and doing nothing. And interception missions are, you move around a lot more. There's a lot more room for error. If you're on wave 55 and you let 2 dudes too close to that pod, you're fucked. You're boned. You're gonna lose probably close to 55 minutes worth of work, if not more. And to me, that's just, I don't know, you can let the enemy capture even 2 interception points. As long as you can let them keep 1. As long as you have 3, you'll win. And there's a lot more room for, not error, but there's a lot more, room for error. It's a lot more forgiving of a game type. And I kind of like that. It is absolutely a PvP game type, though. And I wouldn't mind seeing this introduced later on in perhaps the new Dark Sector missions. The Dark Sector missions right now, and when a Dark Sector is in conflict, is mobile defense. It's just you against, mindless AI enemies and specters. And people aren't really a big fan of that. So what Digital Extremes is doing, basically, is making it PvP. Basically, it's going to be, I believe, squads of 4 running against each other, one defending and one attacking, and the defending team can place turrets and Spectre squads and can, set up their own defenses. Kind of like the Epic Quest for Mega Loot, or whatever that game is. Now it's going to bother me. It's a iOS game, and I think it's actually on Steam too. But you can make your own dungeon, and then other players will, have to run through it, and if they make it to the end, they get your treasure. But the objective is to make sure they don't. And that's kind of the new game mode for Dark Sectors uh, is gonna be running through and these pre-made dungeons, not dungeons, but these pre-made areas by the defending team, and I think it's going to be cool. And I think something that could also be cool with that is if they added, maybe not 4 points of interception, but if they had, 2 points along the way. So you had to, maybe hold a interception point. Not so much like a defense, like, oh, you could fail it if you let the defense point take too much damage. But just strictly, you have to stay on top of it and control it. You could bring in, like, reinforcements or your own this is purely for the attacking side. The attackers can bring in their own Spectre, regiments or something. And I don't know if that's actually possible gameplay-wise, but I think that would be pretty cool. And I think that would be an interesting way to integrate this particular game type into the game in a more fun way. Because I think a lot of people don't like it because they just are like, it's just fucking King of the Hill from Halo. Blah. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's a hell of a lot more fun. You're moving around a hell of a lot more than you are in defense. So I enjoy that more. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. But that'll wrap up this video right here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble on about Warframe's update for 13.7, Depths of the Void. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the update 14 is on its way, and that's going to be a massive update. I'm probably going to do, I'm thinking 3 or 4 or 5 videos on it. It's going to be a fucking Warframe field day. But please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.